If you're looking for a low-profile microphone arm that's both adjustable, affordable, and high quality, then the Fifine BM88 might just be the best choice out there. Let's talk about it. Sticking with the naming convention of making their products sound like a murderous robot from the Star Wars universe, the BM88 from Fifine is a low-profile microphone arm, meaning it's a boom arm you can mount a microphone on.
Thank you, Captain Obvious.
Which sits lower to the desk than a traditional mic arm, which typically would go up and come in from up high. So this thing looks a lot cleaner in my opinion, and it's theoretically a lot easier to tuck away and blend into the rest of your setup. And it currently has an MSRP of just $60, which is relatively cheap for what you're getting. Now, full disclosure, Fifine did send me this mic arm so I could review it alongside the K688 USB XLR microphone, which I've already done a video on, but no money exchanged hands, and Fifine has no say over what I say in this video. Now, if you like the BM88, there is a link to where you can buy it in the description, but once again, for the sake of being honest, it is not an affiliate link, meaning I won't make any money off of you buying this thing. So, the question is, should you buy it? Well, in order to answer that, I'm going to go over the design, the build quality, its functionality, and specs before trying to assess whether I think it's worth it or not compared to some of the other options out there on the market. But before we get to all that, it's time to check in with one of the other cheapest options on the market, Brad Pitt, as we ask ourselves once again, what's in the box? So, we open up the box to find this manual, which we will of course read in its entirety. Then we open up this box within the box to find a fairly large clamp and a little bag which contains a rotatable ball head, a 1/4 to 3/8 adapter, a 3/8 to 5/8 adapter, and an Allen wrench. And finally, we get to the microphone arm itself. And this thing feels pretty sleek, honestly. It rotates pretty smoothly and has some fairly deep cable channels on both parts of the arm. But yeah, a pretty simple unboxing experience overall that gives you what you need to get started, but nothing else. So let's talk about the design first. As you can see, I've got the black version, which I think looks super sleek and minimalistic, with just a tiny bit of color coming from the mounting screw, as well as a very subtle bit of branding on the side of the clamp and on the tension twisty thingy. Now, there's also a white version, which I think looks incredibly nice based on the pictures, and I kind of wish I'd gotten that one instead, but I decided to play it safe with the black one.
Always bet on black.
And then there's also a pink version, which honestly looks really cute, and I like that Fifine offers that option for those of you who are looking for something different than just a standard white or black mic arm. Now, there's also these little cable channels, which I'll get back to when we talk about functionality, but I just wanted to quickly mention how well they actually stick in place while still being easy to take off. That is, as soon as you realize that the arrows on them show which way to put them on, not take them off, which totally didn't take me way too long to figure out. Overall though, I honestly think this mic arm is pretty nice looking, being a bit understated and subtle without looking outright boring or devoid of character. Little details like the branding on the twisty thingy being actually engraved instead of just printed kind of add to the feeling of this being a well-made premium product. Speaking of which, in terms of build quality, first and foremost, I think it's worth pointing out that this thing is not made of plastic in spite of its relatively cheap price point, but rather metal. What kind of metal? Well, sturdy metal, apparently. And look, I've only had it for a few weeks, so I can't exactly speak to the durability of it, but I will say that it feels very well made overall. Nothing feels loose or like it was slapped together with subpar materials, and there's a general sense of comfort you get once you move it around a bit, like you just know it'll hold up. After setting the amount of tension I wanted, I haven't once felt like the arm was gonna sag down over time or that it was too stiff to move into position comfortably. And in the words of your favorite turtleneck wearing genius,
we look totally gay.
I am gay.
Well, I'm not.
Then why are you wearing that turtleneck?
No, not that one. This one.
It just all works.
There's a lot more I could say about the BM88 to showcase how well made I think it is, like how it doesn't make any sound or rattle at all when you move it, but a lot of it blends into the functionality of it, so let's talk about that next. So, the most important aspect of a mic arm like this is, of course, what it can do and how well it does it. Well, it's a mic arm, it holds up a microphone.
Oh, he's the Captain Obvious guy.
But first of all, let's get some of the base specs out of the way. The arm itself has a horizontal length of 70.6 centimeters, or about 27.8 inches for all you gringos out there, meaning it can extend all the way from the back end to the front end of most desks out there. Now, not to brag, but I do have a pretty deep desk, if you know what I mean.
Which means he has a small income.
So in my case, it doesn't extend fully from one end to the other, which is a shame. But again, on the vast majority of desks out there, this isn't an issue. Meaning you could, hypothetically, position it at the back of your desk, tucking away your microphone behind your monitor when you're not using it, and then quickly use a move, which I call the anti-Nick Cannon, pulling out the mic when you need it. It has 72 millimeters of clearance for the lower arm, or about 2.8 inches, meaning it'll easily glide over everything but the very chunkiest of mechanical keyboards. And it has 157 millimeters, or 6.2 inches of clearance for the upper arm, so it's very likely to be able to slide underneath your monitor, especially if you have that on a nice arm of its own. The arm can support up to 1.5 kilos, or just over 3 pounds, which is more than enough for most microphones or even cameras if that's what you want to do. And it comes with a C-clamp that can fit flat surfaces with a thickness of up to 7 centimeters, or 2.4 inches. Speaking of which, that clamp also comes with a ratchet handle, which you can, again, pull out and reposition easily so you can mount it even in places where there isn't space on both sides of the clamp. And again, it's those little touches that speak to how well designed this thing actually is. The same goes for the adjustable tension handle, which you can manually loosen or tighten with your hands in order to adjust the tension off the ball mount. Now, for some reason, the same isn't true for the arms themselves, but at least they do provide you with an Allen wrench for that.
Allen!
But it does extend to how you extend the arms as well, because not only can you rotate it pretty much any way you'd like, and pretty easily as well, but you can also rotate the upper part vertically to the point where it's literally sticking straight up, giving you a ton of functionality in terms of how you choose to position this thing. And then there's the cable management system. Instead of using something like Velcro to strap the cables to the outside of the mic arm, Fifine has included these little cable channels on the arms that are hidden beneath these covers that you can slide on and off. And first of all, these covers lock in pretty good when they're on and don't just pop off at the first sign of resistance. Secondly, the channels themselves are actually pretty deep. I use the BM88 with the K688, also from Fifine, which is a dual USB and XLR microphone, meaning it can connect with both types of cables, and I'm actually able to fit both those cables into this mic arm pretty easily. And if you've ever used XLR cables, you know those things are like that guy at work that your wife tells you not to worry about.
It's very thick.
So, in the words of the immortal bard, is it worth it? Well, with the Fifine BM88, you actually can put your thing down, flip it, and reverse it. But most importantly, it's just a really solid product that's super well built, and it doesn't break the bank. Now, I think it's time to quickly address the elephant in the room, which is the very popular Wave Mic Arm LP from Elgato. And yeah, I think it's fair to say that we have a pretty solid case of someone's homework being copied here, even down to some of the very minor details. And I don't have a Wave Arm LP here, so I honestly can't tell you how much better it is or isn't. But what I can tell you is that on paper, and even in pictures, these two things are pretty much indistinguishable from each other. And the Wave Arm costs $100, while the BM88 is only $60. And even disregarding the Elgato arm, the Fifine BM88 is just a really solid product in its own right. It's well built, from sturdy material apparently, it looks great, and it works just about as well as you can expect a mic arm to do. So if you're in the market for a low-profile microphone arm with all the functionality and quality you could ever want without breaking the bank, then the BM88 from Fifine is definitely worth it. That's it for this video. If you made it this far, do consider giving this video a like, as it really does help out the channel. Subscribe for more tech-related content, and thanks again to Fifine for sending me this mic arm. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.